The movie is called Knock Knock. Evan's wife and kids have gone on a trip, leaving him alone at home with just his dog. A quiet night, absolute freedom, smoking when he wants, gaming when he feels like it. But then, suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Outside stand two young women, drenched from the rain. They say they've lost their phone and need to use his to contact a friend and call a ride. Initially, Evan is reluctant to let them in, but the girls are persistent, and eventually, he lets them inside. Once in, they start pushing boundaries, asking for towels, wandering into different rooms, and even mentioning wanting to take a shower. Evan immediately senses something is off. Conveniently, he has two bathrobes. He offers to dry their wet clothes while they wait. The girls express their gratitude, wondering how they could ever repay him. Coincidentally, it's Father's Day. Two beautiful, uninhibited young women. Evan is barely holding it together. He quickly changes the subject, talking about his wife and insisting he's a faithful man. He's been married for 14 years and has never cheated. Blonde girl Genesis finds that amusing. She says she always knew that after getting married, her husband would cheat on her, so she had already thought of a way to prevent it. The atmosphere grows heavier. The girls claim to be flight attendants, turning up the music and dancing seductively. The ride arrives. The girls say they'll change before leaving, disappearing into the bathroom. But when he calls for them, they don't respond. He opens the door and finds them completely undressed, staring at him invitingly. He tries to resist, but temptation is a dangerous thing. The first thing Evan does when he wakes up is put his wedding ring back on. He assumes the girls have left until he sees his house in complete disarray. Evan wants to send them home, but they say they don't have a home. Last night they found their daddy. Then his wife video calls. Evan rushes outside to answer while the girls start messing with his belongings. He hurriedly wraps up the call, but when he turns back, he's furious. His wife's artwork has been vandalized. He tries to kick them out, but they only get more excited. Not only do they refuse to leave, but they also put on his clothes and continue defacing his wife's work. At his wit's end, Evan decides to call the police. But the girls smirk. When the cops come, we'll just tell them you kidnapped us. We're only 15. In desperation, he offers them money. The girls take offense. You think we're that kind of people? Just then, Evan's masseuse arrives. He rushes out to tell her he's unavailable. But before he can, the girls come running outside. The masseuse, a close friend of Evan's wife, immediately senses something is wrong. At this point, Evan has nothing left to lose. He finally dials the police. The girls panic. Fine, we'll leave. Just take us home. Evan drives them away without a second thought. These two are absolutely crazy, but it's not over. He drove home, went inside, and started cleaning. The house was quiet. He picked up a brush, trying to fix his wife's art. At the last moment, they attack him again, knocking him out and tying him up. The girls were putting on makeup, laughing, dressed up in his wife's clothes, draping themselves over him. They were snapping photos to blackmail him. He strained against the ropes, but he broke free, sending the girl tumbling to the floor. He grabbed her friend by the throat until she stabbed a fork into his shoulder. Things escalate. They put headphones on him and play an unbearable sound. Then, a friend arrives at Evan's house to pick up some artwork. The girls gag Evan and use his phone to text the friend, pretending everything is fine. When the friend arrives, he's immediately suspicious. Since when does Evan have nieces? But then he sees the ruined artwork and is enraged. That's it! I'm calling the police! The girls quickly try to seduce him. Let's keep this our little secret, okay? Unfortunately for them, the friend isn't interested. I'm gay. He immediately sees through their lies. You better hope the cops get here before Evan's wife does. Otherwise, you're screwed. Just as he's about to rescue Evan, he hears another noise. The girls are destroying even more of work. In his attempt to stop them, he is fatally struck. The girls then stage the scene, making it look like Evan killed his friend. Afterward, they start digging a hole in the yard. Evan tries to use his smart assistant to call his wife, but it fails to recognize his voice. The girls find out and destroy the device. What follows is pure madness. They wreck the house, give Evan a terrible haircut, and even pretend to let him escape, only to catch him again immediately. By morning, they bury him in the yard, leaving only his head above ground. Then they confess, "We had terrible childhoods. We just want to ruin happy families." But if someone had resisted their temptations, they would have let them go. Too bad, no one ever has. Evan is beyond furious. This is your idea of a test? The girls smirk and use his phone to upload the video of the previous night's events to his social media. They set the phone in front of him, forcing him to watch his own downfall. Then they leave, taking his dog with them. As Evan struggles, he manages to stretch out one finger, reaching for the video to delete it. Instead, he accidentally likes the post. Evan's family returns to find him tied up and bloodied, facing the chaos caused by the two women. The film ends with them confronting the aftermath, leaving Evan's future uncertain.